What's going on, everyone? Welcome, Rabid here, and here you can see Miner L2 has new firmware as of January 17th. So I'm going to download this, which I actually already did. I haven't installed it yet, but I am curious if we're going to get some hash rate on mining Dutch finally, and also I'm going to try Power Pool as well after to see if we have more pool support. Right now, you can see it's running away, but we're not seeing any types of hash rate on mining Dutch, so nothing happening here. Click here, we can see again, nothing showing up. So the name pops up, but the worker isn't doing anything. It doesn't support any other pool as of this moment. I'm just going to try and find where my actual um firmware version is. Firmware, does it say what our version is? Not right here. So I just want to see. Oh, right here we should be able to see it. Kernel version, release date. um yeah, where is our actual software version? It says V1. So maybe that's what it means by version. So version 1 of our firmware here. And this is version, it doesn't say. So I'm going to upload some new firmware here and we'll see what changes here. So anyway, we're going to come into firmware update here and I'm going to choose, it says note the firmware must be in the zip format. So make sure you do that. I'm just going to choose the file right here, downloads, and here is that latest one, Miner here. So we're going to open that and then we're just going to hit the firmware update button. So boom, there we go. It is uploading the firmware. I recommend do not touch anything for at least 5 to 10 minutes once this goes through, unless it does verify that it's done. If it doesn't, and you might have to hit the refresh or something, don't touch anything for a good 5 to 10 minutes afterwards. So I will be back in a little bit here and we will see what happens. Are you looking for ASIC miners but just not sure who to trust? From most popular brands to bestsellers to miners of the week and even deals of the moment, ASIC Mining Central has you covered to the cheapest prices out of any ASIC website, as well as import fees will be low with low tax with DDP or invoice, and code RABID will grant you an additional $50 off your order. Head on over to ASIC Mining Central today for all your ASIC mining needs. Links down in the description. Now back to our regular scheduled program. So it's only been about 2 minutes or something. It says upload progress 100%. So I'm going to go into my dashboard. It looks like, okay, it looks like it's resetting right now. So we'll just wait a couple minutes here and see if anything does change. I imagine our pools and everything are going to be reset, so I'm going to have to add all that information back in. But yeah, I'm clicking on here. I just get the spinny stuff. So it looks like it is rebooting right now. It is currently down. Okay, so it looks like it did default everything back into via BTC, Litecoin pool, and F2 pool by default here for everything. So that's interesting. So it reset all that, obviously. But I'm going to have to adjust all my pool settings here to see, if it works on mining Dutch and stuff finally. Let's come into our firmware update, or I guess, where was it? System log? No. Where the heck was it? Wired, Wi-Fi, pool setting, overview. There we go. So what do we have? We have version 2 now. So we did go from version 1 to version 2 of our firmware. So yeah, I'm going to input mining Dutch here and let's see if we get any hash rate. All right, guys. So it is looking like we now have hash rate on mining Dutch with this Miner L2. So here we can see it. I did put it in the solo mining mode with my L1 here. We can see we're getting hash rate. We are getting accepted shares. They are not rejected. Here we can see right there, 0 rejected shares. So it is indeed working in other pools now. And this one, mining Dutch, is working. And I'm going to be using this for solo mining. And I'm just going to run through some numbers here to show you why this is probably now the best solo miner for a script. I'll try Power Pool and stuff later on here, but first let's go through the numbers and why I think this is probably going to be one of the best solo miners out there when it comes to the script algorithm. Even better than those hammer miners or whatever the heck they're called that are out there. So let's just start with the hammer miner. As we can see right here, the DC06, which is the newer one, 330 mega hash. It looks like most of batch 1 is almost sold. There's a few here left. I will have discount codes and everything to Helium deployed down in the description if it's something you're looking for. But I would highly recommend nobody to get this for solo mining. So here we can see it is $500 here, 105 watts, 330 mega hash. So let's just kind of compare that to something like the L2. Here we can see this is only $400 here. Again, links will be to this as well. This is a 1.2 gigahash miner at 280 watts. So it's using about double the power and so much more hash rate, 330 mega hash versus 1.2 gigahash, and it's coming in at a cheaper price point. It doesn't make any sense to even look at a hammer miner when you have such, it's when the other one is actually cheaper and hardly using any extra power at all. So here I kind of threw some numbers together to compare them. We can see here the hammer DC06, 330 mega hash at $499 at 105 watts. Just put my W in there for the watts. That works out to be $1.51 per mega hash that you're spending. $1.51. Now it is a pretty efficient miner. It's only coming in at 105 watts, which makes it at 3.14 mega hash per watt of power being used. But we can see here the expensive thing is you're paying $1.51 per mega hash that this puts out. Now let's look at the L2, 1.2 gigahash, $399 at 280 watts. That is only 33 cents per mega hash, and it's more efficient miner here. So we're spending less, we're getting a much better deal here on the hash rate per mega hash, and it's also a more efficient miner at 4.28 mega hash per watt. So it makes no sense to purchase one of these at all versus the L2. Now the L1 is another good home miner here. It's coming in obviously more expensive and stuff, and it's slightly less efficient, but we're getting 5.3 gigahash. This is almost $1,600. It's using about 1,416 watts at the wall, but it's slightly cheaper at only 30 cents per mega hash here. And again, it is an extremely quiet miner. Both blue miners, L1 and L2, are very quiet. You can't even hear them, so they're perfect for home mining. And the L1, I mean, not L2, but the L1 here, I was about to say L2, is only 3.74 mega hash per watt. So it is the second best, third best, I guess, because the hammer miner, the original hammer, is only 25 watts for 105 mega hash, coming in very expensive here at $3.09 per mega hash, but it's nice and efficient at 4.2 mega hash per watt. But when it comes to home mining, because you want silence and stuff and decent prices, these two right here, the Flue Miner L1 and the Flue Miner L2, would 100% be your best bang for your dollar, coming in at 33 cents and only 30 cents per mega hash. And again, the L2 will be much more favorable as it's a lot cheaper and hardly using any power. All right, guys, so now I swapped it over to PowerPool, which in my mind is probably the best pool you could mine script on. They have so many options, and it's the most profitable pool to use. Anyway, coming into here, we can see the rabidmining.L2, the Flue Miner L2 here, 421 accepted, 0.24% rejected. It is working 100%. So we can finally have multiple pool support on the L2. And as I mentioned earlier, this is probably the best solo miner for the script algorithm due to the price, due to the efficiencies. It is just an amazing little miner. It's also a little Bluetooth speaker. So what's not to like about this thing? Anyway, I'm going to slap this back into solo mode. So if you have not yet tried PowerPool, I'll obviously have that link for you in the description as well. But it's pretty sweet here as they compare themselves to a wide variety of different pools just to show you how the profitabilities do compare. And this is pretty darn identical to what you get. So when they're saying you're a little more profitable here, you actually are. So it's pretty amazing to see that they're not just misleading numbers here. They are, in fact, the most profitable pool when it comes to the coins that they do mine. Alrighty, guys, so that pretty much does wrap up this video. The new firmware for the L2 makes this most likely, undoubtedly, the best solo miner for the script algorithm versus all those mini things that are coming out, because this thing is cheaper, a lot more hash rate, and it is also more efficient. So there's nothing really to complain about this. This new firmware just changed the game when it comes to script mining and solo mining for that matter. So here we can see mining Dutch, remember PowerPool, all the pools now should work on this miner here, but I do have this on solo mode. So hopefully I smash that Dogecoin block that's currently around $1,200 or so. So still a lot better odds than hitting the Bitcoin block, but obviously not quite as much as you would get when hitting that Bitcoin block. So anyway, guys, I will have links down in the description to everything here. Thank you for checking out this video. I will see you on the next one. Rabid out.